Chapter 1. A Winter Adventure Begins. Hi, I'm Sam, and this winter I decided to try something completely new. I'd never been skiing before, but I always thought it looked fun. So I booked a few weeks off work and planned a trip to a ski resort with my two best friends, Jessica and Sarah. They were excited to go too, but for different reasons. Sarah couldn't wait to go snowboarding, which she's really good at, while Jessica looked forward to hiking in the mountains and taking pictures of the views. When we arrived at the resort, I felt a bit nervous, but also excited. The mountains were covered in snow, and everything looked like it was out of a winter postcard. I rented some ski equipment, put on a big, warm jacket, and tried my best to look like I knew what I was doing. Spoiler, I didn't. Chapter 2. First Steps on the Slopes. On my first day on the slopes, I realized skiing was much harder than it looked. As I strapped on my skis, I felt clumsy and wobbly, trying to keep my balance. My instructor, Alex, was patient, showing me how to bend my knees and keep my weight forward. I kept slipping and almost fell a few times, but Alex reminded me to relax and just focus on one step at a time. It was a slow start, but I didn't want to give up. At one point, I managed to glide a few meters without falling, which felt like a huge achievement. Sarah was nearby, cheering me on and giving me thumbs up every time I got a little farther. I wasn't fast, but each tiny success made me feel more confident. By the end of the lesson, I was exhausted but proud of myself for making it through. I couldn't wait to see what the next day would bring. Chapter 3. Snowboard Superstar. Watching Sarah on her snowboard was incredible. She glided down the slopes with such ease, making it look as natural as walking. She showed off a few tricks, moving side to side and even catching some air off small bumps. Every now and then she'd wait for me to catch up and give me tips on how to improve my skiing. It felt like I had my own personal cheerleader, and it was inspiring to see her skill in action. At one point, Sarah convinced me to try out her snowboard just to see how it felt. I gave it a shot, but ended up falling almost immediately. We both laughed so hard, and I decided to stick with my skis. Sarah explained that it took her years to reach this level and encouraged me to keep practicing. Seeing her dedication and love for snowboarding reminded me why I wanted to try something new this winter. Chapter 4. Picture Perfect Moments. Jessica was in her element, exploring the mountain trails with her camera in hand. She'd go off on her own, hiking through the snow to find the perfect shot. Every once in a while, she'd call me over to show me her photos. Snow-covered trees, the sunlight peeking through the branches, and even a few candid shots of me struggling on my skis. Each picture looked like it belonged on a postcard. Jessica loved capturing the quiet beauty of the mountains and told me how peaceful she found it. One evening, as the sun began to set, she invited Sarah and me to join her on a short hike. The view from the top was breathtaking, with the sun casting a golden glow over the snowy landscape. It was one of those moments you just don't forget, and Jessica managed to capture it perfectly with her camera. Chapter 5. Getting the Hang of It. By the second day, I was starting to feel more comfortable on my skis. Alex taught me how to make turns by shifting my weight from one side to the other. I practiced going down a small slope, and while it wasn't fast, I finally felt like I was getting the hang of it. Every now and then I'd still fall, but I just laughed it off and tried again. Later, Sarah took me to a beginner slope, one of the easier ones. She gave me tips, showing me how to go slowly and control my speed. "Just relax and go with the flow," she said, "and don't forget to bend your knees." With her help, I actually managed to ski down the slope without falling. I was so proud of myself, and Sarah cheered for me at the bottom. It was such a great feeling. Jessica joined us on the slopes a bit later, though she didn't ski. She stood at the bottom with her camera, taking photos of us as we came down. She loved the view from the mountain, especially at sunset. She showed me a picture she took of me and Sarah on the slope, and it looked amazing. Chapter 6: Conquering the Slopes. Every evening, we'd relax at the lodge, drink hot chocolate, and talk about the day. Sarah would tell us funny stories from her snowboard adventures, and Jessica would show us the best photos she'd taken. I felt lucky to have such good friends with me. They encouraged me every step of the way. By the last few days, I felt like I was finally getting the hang of skiing. I still wasn't as fast as others, but I could make my way down the beginner slopes without falling. My confidence grew, and I even tried a slightly steeper slope with Sarah cheering me on from the bottom. I took a deep breath, leaned forward, and let myself slide down, feeling the wind on my face as I picked up speed. It was such an exhilarating feeling. When I reached the bottom, I was thrilled. Sarah gave me a high five, and Jessica snapped a picture to capture the moment. It was a small victory, but it felt like a huge accomplishment to me. This trip wasn't just about skiing, it was about trying new things, pushing my limits, and enjoying every moment with friends. I was already looking forward to coming back next winter.